Good morning, happy Friday. This video is dedicated to neshma Yeshעיה, Shalom ben Yצחק. Before I continue with this holy cipher, it's important to understand about faith. A minute of faith, trust, is that you don't need to be a chussid, you don't need to be a pupana, you don't need to be a Lubavitcher, you don't need to be a Litvischer to have faith. You don't even need to be Jewish to have a minute, to have faith. Right? And as a matter of fact, this might sound wild, you don't even need to believe in God to tap into faith. Whatever story you want to tell yourself, a Big Bang or whatever it is, it doesn't matter what your intellectual idea is. Faith, a minute, is a frequency you tap in. In the non-Jewish world, they'll call it the universe. They'll call it whatever fancy term to it. But it really doesn't matter by the end of the game. It's about taking a deep breath, letting go of control, letting go of the idea that a person is going to control everything and dictate everything in their life. And actually, the blessing from a minute of faith is that you release so much pressure on yourself trying to control everything around you. And that's so tiring. It's so tiring. And especially now, you live in a generation where people feel deeply and people don't connect just to, this is what I need to do, just like a robot. People are tired of being robots or feeling like a robot. And the generation are desperately want to connect. They want to feel. I was just thinking that similar to faith is Shabbos. So many people have a hard time with Shabbos because all they know is a bunch of halachas, a bunch of laws that they must follow in order to keep Shabbos. But no one ever spoke about connecting to Shabbos. We hear so much about what we're not allowed to do on Shabbos. But why didn't we ever hear, I want to know what we should do on Shabbos? How am I supposed to connect to Shabbos? People don't connect to Shabbos by knowing everything that you're not allowed to do. People want to know, what should I do? Which is a whole conversation for itself about connecting and breathing in Shabbos. That, if a person would actually connect to that, they would never even want to not keep Shabbos, because the enjoyment of peace that you get from keeping Shabbos is overwrites anything else that you want to do, like go to the beach or smoke or go here or go there. Because once you experience and you connect to the energy that God has given us on the seventh day of just peace, you'll never ever want to go back. So there's a lot to talk about, there's a lot to this, but before continuing, if a person wants to master emuna betuchen, faith, it can't be with the same mindset of just understanding it. Understanding it is not going to help you. You need to tap into it, which we might not be able to do that right away, but eventually, if you learn a little of emuna, a little of faith every day, with the intention that you want to tap into it, you just don't want to understand it. Because someone told me, he's like, I learned the whole cipher, I learned it, but when I need to cover the bank, it doesn't help me. So, which was sad to hear, but the reason for it is that you learned the cipher like you just read the book, like la 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 la, what a person's just used to his whole life, to just reading it without feeling it, without breathing into it, embody it through the soul. Through the soul, through the heart, we can connect. Intellectually, it's not something that's going to work intellectually, and a lot of Yiddishkeit has been only taught intellectually, and that causes a disconnect. But as a matter of fact, when it comes to Emunah, even intellectually, I don't remember ever learning it when I was a teenager. You know, we learned Chimish, Gemura, Mishnayos, Halacha. I don't remember ever really talking about Emunah. It was like, yeah, Emunah, you keep Emunah. But what, when, where, how? And it's super important because people want to feel, people want to connect. So, with this said, I'm gonna try to keep this video today shorter. It's Friday. So, I'm continuing here. If you have the cipher, it's page 11. Independence. How the author moves on to list another Torah advantage of Betuchen. Among the Torah benefits of Betuchen is that trust in God will bring a man not to serve any other entity. So through Betuchen in God, you're automatically not going to put trust in anything else. He won't need to place his hope in any man or expect anything from other people. He won't feel like he has to put his faith in man or expect anything from anyone. Because, you know, when you have God, when you have faith, when you trust, you don't feel like you need anyone, because you don't. But we live in a world where people feel like they need other people all the time, you know. As a result, he will avoid many behaviors that distract him from divine services. He won't feel obligated to them, to other people, in order to win their favor. And he will not feel the need to flatter them. Imagine not needing to feel every time you talk to someone, every time you go to shul, who you need to be nice to, who you want business from. With Betuchen, you don't really need to try to flatter anyone. You know that whatever needs to be, whatever your needs are, God will provide to you. And that's about it. And you can just, when you're around people, when you're in shul or anywhere else, even construction show, you just talk to people just like person to person. That's about all. Not that that person is going to give you business, or that person, as a matter of fact, is going to give you anything. And you don't even think that I need anything from anyone. He will therefore not consent to spend time with them on matters that are not related to services of God. Wow. So you won't even be wasting time talking to someone for an hour that maybe he's going to give you something. As a matter of fact, if you're going to sit with someone for an hour, you're going to be like, you know, I actually want this conversation to be meaningful. I want to get something out. And instead of talking about worldly matters, business, you're actually going to spend it by talking about God and connection and you know, etc. He will not be afraid of their wicked behavior. He will not be afraid of other people's wicked behavior. He will not flatter them, and he will not be fearful of their judgments. He won't feel the need to flatter to people that are not doing the right thing, which a lot of times those people have so quote-unquote money, and the world feels like they need to flatter, you know, kiss up to them. You know, just gonna let go. As a result, he won't feel pressured to join them in their inappropriate behavior. So as a result of not flattering them and understanding that God gives you everything, you're actually not even going to put yourself in a position to, by mistake, get dragged into inappropriate behavior. Now, inappropriate behavior can be on a small scale and it can be on a huge scale. But either or, with that mindset that you know that God will provide to you, you're like, whatever anyone tells you, you can right away, like, if it doesn't feel right, just let it go. You don't feel like, oh, I need to cover, this, that. Let go. Rather, he will divert himself from their behaviors, from the bother of being gracious to them, as well as the obligation to pay them back for any good. So even if someone gives you business, you're still not going to feel the need to flatter to them, because you'll know it's straight from God, and you won't feel like you need to pay them back. You're going to know that whatever a person, person hooked you up, let's say, with a job or whatever it is, you say thank you. You know it's from God. You know that person is a shliach through God, and that's about it. If he needs to rebuke them, he will not need to be careful of offending their honor. Not only that, even if a person knows someone, or in shul or whatever it is, or just in the street, or a neighbor, or doesn't matter. When a person has faith in God, he's not afraid to tell someone, by the way, what you're doing is not nice. It's not okay. Even though that person has $20 billion. He's not going to be afraid. That's what a minute really gives you. It makes you like unstoppable. You really don't feel the need to kiss up to anyone, to ask anyone for anything. And with real faith, you always have whatever you need all of the time. Like, literally, it's not even like a question, maybe. God takes care of billions and trillions of species, bugs, and everything. And the human being has such a hard time having faith that they're also going to be taken care of. Because we're convinced that, our paycheck takes care of us. Moving on, and if he needs to shame them while rebuking them, he will not be embarrassed, and he will not praise their false ways. So the way I see it is like, it doesn't mean that we need to rebuke people. Like, I'm actually very careful. Like, if I'm going to tell someone that he's doing something wrong or whatever, I'm really going to think, like, what's the point of it? Is it necessary? People have their own journeys. It's not like really my business. But if there's a case where you gotta speak up, you gotta speak your mind, you gotta tell people what you think, because people that think they control everything try to take over a situation or whatever, you're gonna have zero fear of confronting people, zero fear in life, bechlal, which is so freeing. And like, we're all chasing freedom, but we're so convinced that freedom comes through money. Now, it's a tool, it's definitely a tool, but if a person can't be free without money, he will never be free with money. Freedom is a mindset. Freedom is something you tap into. And we all have it. And we should try to let go of the idea that there's something out there, which is usually materialistic things, is going to set me free. No, it won't. Now, I want materialistic stuff. I want a nice car. I want a nice house. I want all of that. And any person could get that. But through faith, you're actually gonna have to critically think, why am I asking God for this? Why is it something that I really need? Or is it just something that my ego wants because I want to feel part of society and I want people to like me? So this whole journey is gonna really, really, really get you to truth and connection, which is what it's all about. Have a beautiful, wonderful Shabbat.